Have you ever wondered if there's, I don't know, a shortcut to being truly well-informed? Or maybe a clearer path to hitting those big ambitions you have?
Yeah, like a secret formula or something.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating book. It was written like over 100 years ago by Wattles, and it's called The Science of Getting Rich.
100 years? That's pretty old.
It is. And what makes it so intriguing are these incredibly bold claims Wattles made. I mean, he didn't just say his advice was good, he actually declared it an exact science and failure is impossible.
Whoa, okay. An exact science.
Right. And he even claimed it was the only book you needed to get wealthy. Pretty audacious for, 1910.
That's putting it mildly.
So our mission today is really to peel back the layers on these century-old claims, these really audacious ideas, and see if they actually still hold any powerful relevance in, well, our world today.
It really is surprising, isn't it? I mean, thinking that a text written way before social media or personal computers, even before planes were really a big thing,
Right.
could offer principles for success that still work. Our goal here in this deep dive is basically to pull out the most important, the most potent insights from Wattles' work, help you kind of cut through the noise and understand the core principles he thought were essential, for prosperity, for fulfillment.
And we'll definitely touch on what he meant by exact science as we go.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, so let's unpack this first big idea from Wattles. Money is a medium of value. Now, Wattles had this really profound perspective here. He believed wanting money isn't really about greed. He thought it was actually a noble desire, a desire to experience more of what he called God's creation.
Okay, God's creation. That sounds potentially quite religious.
Well, yes and no. For Wattles, coming from that whole new thought movement, wasn't strictly religious in the way we might think today. It was more about tapping into, like, the full abundance of life.
Yeah.
The possibilities.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, seeing money as a tool, basically. A tool to access and experience more of the universe's capacity for growth and expansion. At its core, though, his point was, money is just a medium of value. That's it.
Right, like a tool for exchange.
Exactly. We're constantly exchanging value with other people, and, well, often money is involved in those exchanges. Simple as that.
And what's fascinating here, if you kind of connect this to the bigger picture, is how it completely reframes how you might approach wealth.
How so?
Well, Wattles' core advice based on this idea is really clear. If you want to get rich, you have to deliver as ch value as possible to as many as possible.
Okay, value to many. Makes sense.
But it goes further. He really emphasizes delivering more personal value than the capital value, the money you ask for in return.
So give more usefulness or impact than you take in cash.
Precisely. It directly links your own prosperity to the huge positive impact you have on other people. Which raises a big question. What does that actually look like? How do we apply this? How do you even measure personal value exceeding the capital value?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Think about the contrast. You've got someone, maybe they've worked hard at the same job for like 30 years.
Yeah, feeling stuck.
Totally. They feel underpaid, underappreciated, and they're always looking at others thinking, why them and not me? I work hard. Their focus is all on what they think they're owed.
Right, what they deserve for their time and effort.
Exactly. Now flip that. Think about someone like Jeff Cavalieri, the guy behind Athlean X on YouTube.
Oh yeah, the fitness guy. Huge following.
Huge. And how did he build it? By putting out just tons and tons of free, really high-quality, holistic training videos for millions of people.
He gave away so much content. It's incredible.
He literally gave away a masterclass in fitness to anyone with internet. So the personal value he offered, the knowledge, the transformation he shared freely was way, way more than any initial capital value he asked for.
I see. So he built this massive bank of trust first.
Exactly. And the result? People trust him completely. They're actually eager to buy his paid programs because he's already given them so much value up front. It's like a perfect example of Wattles' principle in action.
That makes a lot of sense. Value first, capital follows.
Which leads us straight into the second big takeaway from Wattles. Know what you want.
Okay. Clarity.
Absolute clarity. He insists that having a really clear mental image is crucial, paramount even, for manifesting any idea into the physical world.
Manifesting. That sounds a bit out there.
Maybe. But think of his analogy. If you want to send a text message that makes sense, you type specific words right.
Right, not just random letters.
Exactly. You don't just mash the keys and hope your friend gets it. And Wattles is saying the same apply to your goals. This sounds super obvious, I know.
Yeah, know what you want, sure.
But it's a step so many people just skip over. He stresses you need a definite goal and you need a strategy to get there. And this is a key, the unwavering commitment to stay focused and true to that vision.
It's the absolute clarity Wattles demands that's really fascinating, though. He hammers home that any vagueness, any fuzziness in your desire just, well, it sabotages your progress.
Yeah, you can't hit a blurry target.
Exactly. But beyond just stating the goal, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for people today in getting that level of clarity? I mean, with all the distractions, all the different things pulling at us.
That's a great point. I think it really boils down to commitment, real commitment. Consider the difference. You got someone who vaguely kind of wants to be rich.
Right, nice idea. Maybe a private jet someday.
Yeah, daydreams about a jet. But their actual strategy, maybe it's just getting good grades, but then they're easily sidetracked by, partying, gaming, just chilling.
So the desire is there, kinda, but no real focused push?
None. Now contrast that with Warren Buffett. From when he was really young, he declared that if he wasn't a millionaire by age 30, he'd jump off the tallest building in Omaha.
Wow. Okay, that's definitive.
Right. Talk about a clear goal.
Yeah.
And his strategy was just as clear. Study value investing. That was it. He even offered to work for Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing, for free, just to learn faster.
Dedication.
Total dedication. And he stayed true to that strategy his whole life. They say he still reads hundreds of pages of reports every single day.
Incredible focus.
So what does this mean for you listening? It really highlights that defining what you want isn't just a passing thought. It's a deep commitment that has to shape, every decision you make.
That level of focus is intense.
Okay, let's move to Wattles' third big principle. Picture that you already have it.
Visualization.
Exactly. So once you have that crystal clear mental image we just talked about, Wattles says you need to invest quality time actually visualizing this desired state as if it's already real.
Okay. Just sit and imagine it.
Pretty much. And he describes this amazing thing that happens when you do that consistently. Your subconscious kicks in, as he puts it. You start to notice things in your everyday life, new opportunities, new pathways that you just didn't see before.
Like your brain starts looking for it.
Sort of. He calls it receiving awesome ideas from outside of yourself, referring to it as infinite intelligence.
Infinite intelligence. Okay. And this is where Wattles gives that really strong, almost provocative warning, right? It raises big questions about the media we consume.
Yeah, this part is really striking. He urges you strongly to stay away from opposites, and specifically to cut out any news flow regarding poverty.
Wow. Cut out news about poverty. That sounds extreme.
It does. And his examples are really vivid, almost jarring, he says. To become healthy, don't study disease. To be a great husband, don't study divorce. To be a great investor, don't study personal bankruptcies.
Okay, I see the pattern. Focus only on the positive outcome, not the potential negative.
Exactly. Now, Wattles used the term infinite intelligence, but, modern psychology might explain this differently, maybe heightened pattern recognition or the brain's reticular activating system.
Right, the RAS, the filter in your brain that notices things you're focused on.
Now, once it's locked onto that clear image, it starts highlighting opportunities you just overlooked before. But what happens if you're constantly feeding it the opposites Wattles warns about?
Well, he says they will cause disbelief. And he paints disbelief as the most dangerous thought you can have for making progress towards any goal.
Which raises the question, how hard is it really to filter out all that noise in today's world? The 24/7 news cycle, social media.
It's incredibly challenging. But Wattles thought the impact was profound.
Think about it. Someone wants to be a healthy athlete, right? But they hear endless news about pandemics, health scares.
And they get scared, stay inside, limit activity.
Yeah. Or someone wants a loving relationship, but all they see online or on TV are stories of heartbreak, betrayal.
So they become fearful, maybe avoid getting close to anyone.
Right. Or the aspiring investor who just gives up because all they hear about are stock market crashes and people losing everything. This constant diet of opposites, it just breeds disbelief.
It undermines the positive picture you're trying to hold.
Exactly. Now contrast that with someone like Conor McGregor.
The MMA fighter. Controversial guy, but undeniably successful.
Hugely successful. First fighter to hold UFC belts in 2 weight classes at the same time. and he had this incredibly powerful, clear mental image of success. He famously said, "I'm 100% confident that I will make it to the top."
He definitely projected confidence.
Absolutely. He didn't seem to dwell on the negatives or the failures of others. He just immersed himself in the vision of his own triumph. And that focus, arguably, allowed him to see and grab opportunities others completely missed.
So the mental picture, combined with filtering out the opposites, creates a powerful force.
That's the idea. Which brings us to our fourth takeaway. Make every day a success.
Okay, so it's not just thinking, it's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wattles is really emphatic here. Positive thinking alone. Not enough. He says, you must also act. And specifically, doing everything that can be done during that day.
Everything that can be done. That sounds intense.
It ties into this concept I find really powerful. Micro speed, macro patience.
Micro speed, macro patience. Okay, break that down.
It means if you squeeze the absolute most out of every single day, if you act decisively, effectively, right now, in the present.
And the future kind of takes care of itself.
That's the idea. The progress just accumulates. So many people get this completely backwards. They practice micro patience, macro speed.
Meaning
They're super impatient for their big long-term goals. But they have no urgency today. They fail to do anything outside their normal routine, or they put off the small daily actions that actually build towards that goal.
Ah, okay. Impatient for the end result, but lazy in the daily steps. I see that a lot.
Yeah. So Wattles connects this to the bigger picture. It's really about mastering the present moment.
Right. He advises not dwelling on past regrets or worrying about the future, but just live and act in the here and now.
Be fully engaged in the actions today that move you forward. Don't get lost in what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow.
But it's not just about doing a lot, is it? It's not just busy work. How do we make sure that daily action is actually productive in the way Wattles meant?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
He emphasizes you have to act in a smart way and be working perfectly. It's not about just, running around shouting, I'm doing stuff, or just being busy for the sake of it.
Quality over just quantity of action.
Exactly. Think about Jimi Hendrix.
Hendrix, okay,
Yeah.
legendary guitarist.
Arguably one of the greatest ever. And he took this idea, do everything that can be done during a day, to this incredible level, even when he was super young.
Really? How so?
Well, he came from a poor family, right? So before he even got a real guitar, he was practicing on a broom, then a one-string ukulele.
Wow. Resourceful?
Totally.
But once he got his first real guitar, he was apparently inseparable from it. He'd take it to school, play during recess. He even slept with it so he could grab it and play first thing in the morning.
That is microspeed right there. Intense focus.
Absolutely. Now, Wattles' specific tip here for making sure the action is smart is to initially learn about different fields, get a broad sense, but then focus on a single area and become a master of it.
So explore, then specialize, and go deep.
Right. It's about concentrated, intelligent effort, day in, day out, not scattered, frantic activity.
Makes sense. Master the present through focused, intelligent action.
Okay, finally, our last takeaway, focus on creation rather than competition.
Creation over competition. What does he mean by that?
Well, Wattles makes this really compelling point that everything is not a zero-sum game.
Meaning not everything is win-lose?
Exactly. He specifically mentions the stock market and entrepreneurship as examples where value can actually be created and shared, not just fought over and divided up. So wealth isn't a fixed pie where if I get a bigger slice, you get less.
That's his view. And the key, he says, to avoiding getting stuck in that competitive zero-sum mindset is innovation, doing something new or different from what everyone else is doing.
Finding your own path, creating something unique.
Exactly.
And what's really fascinating here is this idea of discovering, blue oceans of opportunity.
Blue oceans.
Yeah, untapped markets, new strategies where there isn't bloody competition everywhere. It's about pursuing, say, a new strategy for investing or starting a business which delivers a new service to a new market segment, creating your own space.
Okay, I like that. Blue oceans.
And this connects really strongly to Wattles' other advice here. Focus on something that you're great at doing.
Why is that important for creation?
Well, think about it. It's incredibly hard, maybe impossible, to be a true creator, to really innovate in a field where you don't have deep experience or mastery.
Right. If you don't know the field well, how can you see what's missing or what could be different?
Exactly. Without that mastery, you almost inevitably just end up copying others, which puts you right back into direct competition. Red oceans, not blue ones.
So mastery enables genuine creation.
That's the idea. It makes you wonder, though, In our world today, which feels so crowded sometimes, are there still plenty of these blue oceans left to find? Or is it getting harder and harder?
That's a great question. I personally think they're everywhere, if you just know how to look. Contrast the idea of someone launching, say, just another generic hamburger franchise.
Right. Same burgers, same fries, same price point.
Exactly. Offering nothing really unique. They're just destined to fight tooth and nail for customers in a totally saturated market. Red ocean all the way.
Tough grind.
Totally. Now, think about the massive impact of true creators. People like Alfred Nobel inventing dynamite back in 1866 totally changed industries.
Huge impact.
Or Gideon Zunbeck with the modern zipper in 1917, changed clothing manufacturing. Or Eric Wallenberg, who came up with the Tetra Pak in 1952, changed how we package and ship liquids globally.
Things we totally take for granted now, but were revolutionary.
Absolutely. Or think further back, Gutenberg's printing press, Thomas Newcomen's steam engine, more recently, John Blankenbaker's personal computer, or the guys who founded YouTube Place. Jawed Karim, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen.
Game changers, all of them.
Right. These people weren't just competing on the existing terms. They created entirely new terms, new markets, new possibilities. And in doing that, they unlocked just immense value, not just for themselves, but really for the whole world. That's the power of focusing on creation.
Shifting the whole playing field instead of just fighting on the old one.
Exactly. So just to quickly recap those 5 core principles from Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich.
Let's do it.
1. Seeing money not as greed, but as a noble medium of value. 2. The absolute necessity of knowing precisely what you want, that clear mental image.
3. The power of picturing that you already possess it, visualizing success.
4. The daily discipline, that micro speed of making every single day a success through focused, smart action.
And 5. Shifting your focus from competition, from the red ocean, to pure creation in the blue ocean.
It's really remarkable, isn't it, how these ideas from over 100 years ago still offer such profound insights. They feel incredibly relevant today for anyone who wants to be well-informed and, well, successful.
It really does. And I guess this raises an important question for you, the listener, right? Are these just interesting concepts you've kind of heard before in different ways? Or do they genuinely prompt you to maybe reconsider your own approach? You know, your approach to work, to your goals, even just your daily actions, maybe in a fresh light.
Yeah, that's the real question. And maybe one final thought. If Wattles actually claimed this was an exact science, implying, a predictable cause and effect.
Our science part.
Right. What small, tangible step could you take, maybe just this coming week, to actually experiment with one of these principles? Not just think about it, but try it.
Like a mini experiment.
Exactly. Maybe it's really clarifying just one specific goal, or consciously cutting out one source of that opposite news he talked about, or maybe just taking one decisive action today that you've been putting off.
Moving from just understanding it to actually applying it in your own life, even in a small way.
Precisely. We definitely encourage you to continue your own deep dive into these really powerful ideas.